Thank you, DRG, for passing me the mic. My name's Lori Clement. I'm a talent consultant with DRG. Like everyone else right now, there's a lot on my mind regarding the challenges we have in our country. Really, the challenges are just about relating to each other in healthy ways and remembering that we're all part of the same family and should be supporting each other and making sure that we don't leave anyone behind. I am in Winston-Salem right now. I was living in Harlem and I left at the start of COVID. I was really fortunate to be able to relocate my family to a place where I felt we had a better opportunity at staying healthy. And I'm here and I love it. But some of my neighbors, my new neighbors, they have Confederate flags hanging up from their garages and in their cars. And it makes me wonder just where in this country a family like mine can truly feel welcome, truly be welcome. So that aside, I wanted to spend my time on the mic sharing some food for thought related to the work that I do. And if you're not familiar with DRG, we are a talent advisory firm. We work exclusively with nonprofits and we support nonprofits with everything related to a talent. At the core of that work is talent identification and recruitment at all levels, but particularly for executive levels. And right now, with 22 million Americans unemployed, and I just read today, 50% of Black adults are unemployed. Jobs are in everyone's minds. Finding them, recruiting for talent, preparing organizations to thrive in the future. And it's on my mind too. But particularly, I'm thinking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, and the continuum that it represents in terms of representation or diversity being the very beginning stages of that work, and the next step being equitable practices, processes, and structure. And how it's that second step that really sets everyone up to being, everyone, and by everyone I mean all workers, to being treated fairly in the workplace. And I'd like to urge all organizations, nonprofits, and for-profits, but especially for-profit organizations, to take this relatively slow moment in time. And what I mean by that is that for many, business is slow. And so that means there's time for reflection. So I urge all of you to take this moment in time to review your practices for how you treat the people in your organization. I would love for each organization to improve how they treat their people. And if they do, there will be a ripple in society. Nonprofits are at the forefront of this work. There are many who have extremely progressive policies for compensation, benefits, and the treatment of their employees. So if you're looking for models, the nonprofit sector is the place to start. And within that, I think the leaders in this work are social justice organizations. These are the people who are working to create a world where everyone in our society can excel. And because they're doing that hard work externally, it's a must that they do that hard work internally, and they have. And so I'm sure that they would be happy to share, where they stand on their policies now, how that's changed over time, and where they're looking to improve. And I guarantee you that in those areas where they're looking to improve, they are still miles ahead of many other organizations. And so just to point out and name a few, I urge you to take a look at Color of Change, the National Domestic Workers Alliance, MoveOn.org. The Black Youth Project has some amazing approaches to just self-care. And so there are many organizations you could take a look at there. Aside from that, in terms of other nonprofits, I urge you to look at organizations like Good Shepherd Services in New York, Teach for America, and One Goal. They have been consistently working on improving their approaches to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they're walking the walk. So the other thing I was hoping to leave people to think about is what I've noticed is that there's been a trend, particularly in the nonprofit space, and I anticipate the trend is going to expand to for-profit organizations, especially given the national conversation right now on race. But the trend I've been seeing is an interest that organizations and funders have in diversifying staff of nonprofits and hiring people of color and getting leaders of color. And The talent is out there, and I'm sure organizations can and will find the diverse candidates they seek. And when you do, I would love to see that there's a move to truly compensate these candidates for the economic value that they bring. That not only are they compensated equally for equal work, but that they're also compensated for the additional value that they bring, that their mere presence and exceptional work brings to the organization. So, as an example, I can point to my own career where I've joined organizations and have been one of the few people of color. And my desk has been placed at the very front entrance so that when you walk in, everyone can see the diversity that's on offer for that team. And it allows organizations to say, we are progressive, we value diversity, and those values lead to business and opportunities that often isn't shared with the very people who are making that possible. So that's some food for thought. I'd love for you to think about that, right? And there's a larger conversation there about wealth distribution, just in general, that everyone can benefit from. And lastly, I would love for candidates and job seekers to know this. I know, having applied for many positions and having a career so far, that when you are seeking a job, it can seem as though you are in a position without much power. But in my role now as a recruiter, I can recognize that candidates and job seekers actually do have a tremendous amount of power, and they can influence the organizations that they engage with, regardless of whether or not they ultimately get a job with them. And so, and I would say I would double tap that for those candidates of you who are seeking leadership positions within other organizations. You have the power to move organizations on issues of diversity and equity. And as a start and as an example, one easy way to do this is when you're in the hiring process, they give you an opportunity to ask questions. So ask them, ask tough ones, right? Ask questions about representation and the commitment the organization has made to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Ask them, what are the demographics of the board, leadership, the staff? If there's a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion that they have in, their handbook or it's on their website somewhere, ask them what are the resources that they have in place to support and deliver on that commitment. And how has the commitment and any actions that they've taken impacted their processes for hiring, for evaluation of their team members, for promotion? Talk about your values, because your values are just as important as the organization that you're thinking about joining, and talk about how important it is for you to be part of an organization whose values align with yours. And the truth of the matter is that many organizations don't even have a commitment to diversity. And the ones that do, they don't often have resources to back that commitment up. But as a candidate, you can push on this conversation. And if you're a leader, you can negotiate that being a key focus of the work that you do moving forward. You can even negotiate resources to support that work. So the main point I think I'm communicating is that each of us has a role to play in making our nation better. I'm thinking about my role, and I'm hopefully offering some food for thought on actions each of you can take wherever it is you may sit. We each have to play our part. Thanks for listening. Drops the mic. Be well.